June 13th, 1944, Normandy. A milky fog hangs over the fields surrounding the small French village of Villers Bocage. Damp earth clings to boots. The distant roar of engines mixes with the metallic clatter of tracks on cobblestones. In an inconspicuous farmhouse at the edge of the village, SS Hptm Michael Wittmann sits inside his tank, a massive Tiger one. The steel behemoth weighs nearly 57 tons, its 88mm gun gleaming in the morning haze. Wittmann, a veteran commander of the 101st Heavy SS Panzer Battalion, peers through the periscope. His men are calm, eerily focused. Radio operator Heinrich Reimers, loader Balthazar Wohl, gunner Walter Muller. Every man knows what is at stake today. Ahead of them, a British armored column, part of the 7th Armored Division, the legendary Desert Rats. They advance toward Caen, confident that resistance here is already broken. Their Cromwell and Sherman tanks roll down the main street in what looks like a parade of steel. The British have no idea that just a few hundred meters away, a single Tiger waits, motionless, hidden among hedgerows and trees. Inside the Tiger, the air is stifling. The smell of grease, metal, and fear fills the cabin. Wittmann watches through the sight as the first Cromwell slowly rounds the corner. The engine hums deeply, the sound carrying far across the fields. He knows there is no time to hesitate. Every shot must hit. Every second counts. He lowers his voice and speaks into the intercom. Target acquired. Distance 800 meters. Tank. Fire. A thunderous roar shatters the silence. The 88mm shell cuts through the binding, hitting the laid Cromwell squarely. A blinding fireball erupts. Shrapnel flies across the street. British soldiers dive for cover. Chaos, screams, confusion. Wittmann immediately issues the next command. Next. Fire. A second hit. Another British tank burns. The column stalls. Radio messages flood in. Commanders shout over each other. Nobody knows how many German tanks are out there. And yet, there is only one. Inside the Tiger. Wittmann remains ice cold. He rotates the turret. The massive gears groan under the load. Smoke thickens outside, but his crew works precisely, methodically. Less than 5 minutes have passed, and several Allied vehicles already lie in flames. Wittmann knows he must act now, before the British can regroup. He orders the advance. The Tiger moves forward, slow, unstoppable, like a predator stalking its prey. Tracks dig into the ground, the noise thunders through the narrow streets. British infantry try to position anti-tank weapons, but Wittmann reacts faster. MG, fire! The whole machine gun rattles, throwing dirt and dust into the air. The street becomes hell itself. The Tiger moves straight toward Villers Bocage, alone against an entire column. Wittmann's voice remains calm. We move on. Don't be afraid, men. Today we show them what a Tiger is. The crew responds with a single short, yes, sir. Then, another shell, another hit. A British Sherman explodes, its turret flying meters into the air. In less than 15 minutes, Wittmann's name will become legend. But for now, in this moment, only one thing matters: the next shot. The Tiger rumbles through the main street of Villers Bocage. Explosions echo between the buildings. Window panes shatter. Bricks rain onto the cobblestones. Wittmann's tank moves like a monster from another world, a steel colossus plowing through a British formation. The British column comes to a complete halt. Tanks and half-tracks jostle against each other. Drivers struggle to turn, collide, block the street. Radios scream over one another. No one knows who is in command. Through the smoke, the Tiger emerges. A Cromwell tries to flank, but gunner Muller already has it in his sights. Fire! He blasts. The tank erupts in flames. The shockwave throws British soldiers to the ground. Within minutes, multiple vehicles blaze along the street. Wittmann's crew works like a machine. Reimers reports infantry moving in the side streets. Wittmann reacts instantly. Turret right! Prepare MG. The machine gun rakes across the street. Soldiers dive behind walls. Some hurl themselves into doorways. The Tiger presses forward relentlessly. In the distance, Wittmann spots Sherman Fireflies, the only British tanks capable of seriously threatening a Tiger. He knows one shot could end them. Move fast. We must surprise them. The Tiger accelerates, its engine roaring, tracks clashing against the cobblestones. Wittmann aims personally at the first Firefly and fires. A direct hit. The British tank bursts into flames. But now the other Fireflies have him in their sights. A shell whistles past, striking a house behind him. Plaster rains down, splinters pepper the tank. The crew ducks, but Wittmann remains composed. Loader dot. Next shell. Quick. Wall grabs another round, slides it into the breach. Fire! A second Firefly is hit, its turret blown apart. The street is a river of fire. In less than 15 minutes, Wittmann has destroyed more than 20 enemy vehicles, tanks, scout cars, transports. His Tiger is now covered in soot and dust. The gun smokes, the tracks steam, but danger mounts. British infantry move anti-tank weapons into position. Artillery can be heard in the distance. Wittmann realizes. Staying here would mean encirclement. He orders a withdrawal south to link up with other German units. The Tiger turns, heavy but unstoppable, disappearing again into the hedgerows and trees. Behind it, Villers Bocage burns. For the British, it is a shock. A single German machine has destroyed an entire column of the famed desert rats. News spreads quickly along the front, and with it, a name soon to become legend. Michael Wittmann. By the evening of June 13, 1944, the sun hangs low over the hills of Normandy. Smoke rises above Villers Bocage, and the sounds of battle have mostly faded. Only distant explosions echo occasionally. Wittmann's Tiger now rests in a hedgerow south of the village. The crew is exhausted. The interior is hot and stifling, the smell of powder and oil lingering. Wittmann himself is silent, staring through the periscope at the rising columns of smoke above the destroyed village. He knows they accomplished something extraordinary, but also that luck had played a part. Facing an entire division alone, even in a Tiger, is madness. Wittmann was no ordinary officer. Born in 1914 in Bavaria, he joined the Waffen-SS early and gained recognition on the Eastern Front. There, across the vast Russian plains, he learned the realities of armored warfare. Movement, surprise, precision. He had destroyed dozens of enemy tanks, but never so many in such a short time as today. His men revered him, not just for his rank, but because he fought among them. In the dust, the noise, the fire, he shared cigarettes, jokes, and fears. And when the fight began, he remained calm, ice cold, calculating. When they returned the Tiger to the company the next day, they were met with astonished looks. The tank was riddled with bullet and shell marks, tracks damaged, but still operational. An officer of the 101st SS Panzer Battalion slapped Wittmann on the shoulder. "What on earth were you doing out there?" Wittmann replied tersely, "I did my duty." Within days, his name would appear in German newspapers. Reports spoke of an unprecedented tank engagement and superhuman courage. Propaganda Minister Joseph Goebbels immediately recognized the value of the story. A hero embodying hope and pride in the chaos of Normandy. Photos were taken, interviews conducted. Wittmann was invited to Paris, later to Berlin. There, in front of cameras, he received the Oak Leaves to the Knight's Cross, one of Nazi Germany's highest honors. Yet Wittmann remained distant. He knew many of his comrades had not returned and that fame in war was fleeting. In a rare moment of openness, he told a reporter, "A tank is only as strong as the men who operate it." And luck always plays a part. By the summer of 1944, the war in France continued, and Wittmann returned to the front. He knew the Allies were learning, fast and mercilessly. The era of the invincible Tigers was ending. Little did he know that just weeks later, near Cintheaux, his final battle would come. A fight that would cement the myth, but destroy the man. August 8, 1944. South of Cintheaux, Normandy. The sun hangs high, dust and debris fill the air across the fields. The ground shakes beneath the tracks of dozens of tanks. German lines are faltering. The Allies advance relentlessly, and the Falaise pocket slowly closes. Michael Wittmann, now Obersturmführer, commands another Tiger I. His crew is newly assembled. Many of his old comrades are dead or wounded. He is tired but determined. He knows that if German tanks cannot hold here, the war in France may be lost. Orders are to stop the British advance near Saint-Aignan de Cromwell. Wittmann leads a small group, 6 Tigers against more than 30 British vehicles, including dangerous Sherman Fireflies armed with 17-pounder guns. Over the radio, another commander reports enemy movement along the tree line. Wittmann reacts instantly. "We move forward. Hold the line. I'll take the lead." The Tiger moves out from cover, crossing a wheat field. Sunlight glints off its armor, almost giving away its position. Suddenly, a sharp flash. A shot from the right, just missing. The ground shudders. "Enemy tanks at 11 o'clock. 800 meters," shouts the gunner. "Fire!" commands Wittmann. The 88mm gun roars. A British Sherman is obliterated. But this time it's different. The British are prepared, Fireflies positioned in concealed spots, shooting from distance. A second shot hits the ground just ahead of the Tiger. Dust and splinters pepper the tank. "Direct hit, narrowly missed," yells the loader. Wittmann remains calm, orders a turn to the left to flank the enemy. Then it happens. A piercing strike, metallic screeching, smoke. A direct hit on the turret roof. The 17-pounder penetrates, igniting the ammunition storage. In an instant, the Tiger erupts in a fireball. The explosion tears the turret off, hurling it meters away. The field trembles. None of the crew survives. Wittmann's tank burns, while British and Canadian forces cautiously advance. No one on the battlefield knows at that moment that one of the most famous tank commanders of the war has fallen. By evening, British units report a massive Tiger destroyed by concentrated fire. It is only days later that they learn. It was Michael Wittmann. His death spreads quickly. For the Germans, he becomes a martyr. For the Allies, a symbol of the end of German armored superiority. Newspapers speak of an invincible hero who ultimately fell to the fire he had so often unleashed. In truth, his death was not a heroic moment, but the result of a war already lost. The sky over Normandy turns red as night falls, and the Tiger, once a symbol of unstoppable power, stands still, a smoking wreck on a field that no one will forget. In the days following the battle, German troops recover the remains of the Tiger. They find charred metal fragments, melted shell casings, barely more than a burnt-out wreck. Only remnants remain of Wittmann and his crew. The men are buried nearby, nameless, hastily, amidst the devastated landscape. Decades later, in the 1980s, the remains are identified and ceremonially interred at the La Cambe War Cemetery. On the simple gravestone, 5 names are inscribed, men who fought and died together. Yet the myth of Wittmann lives on. Even during the war, he became an icon. His actions at Villers Bocage were exploited by propaganda to bolster the belief in the invincibility of the Tiger. Photographs show him with his Knight's Cross, calm, composed, the face of the perfect tank commander. After the war, historical analysis became more sober. Was Wittmann a tactical genius, or simply a man in the right place at the right time? Many Allied veterans later admitted respect for his courage, even knowing he fought for the wrong regime. Today, Wittmann is one of the most controversial figures of armored warfare. His achievements are undeniable. Over 130 confirmed tank kills. Yet they are inseparable from the organization he served. The Waffen-SS, responsible for countless war crimes. Thus, Wittmann's story remains a paradox. An extraordinary soldier trapped in an inhumane war. A man who gained fame through courage and skill, yet whose renown is forever tied to a dark chapter in history. His attack at Villers Bocage remains one of the most famous tank engagements of World War II. Military academies study it as an example of tactical surprise, initiative, and the dangers of overextension. Because while Wittmann's strike was brilliant, it also showed how deadly overconfidence in war can be. Today, walking through Villers Bocage, little remains of that battle. The houses are rebuilt, the streets silent. Only a small monument reminds visitors of the day a single tank turned the tide for a brief moment, and of the man who commanded it. Michael Wittmann died young, at the age of 30, yet his name lives on. in books, films, and debates about heroism, responsibility, and the gray areas of war. And perhaps his true significance lies not in the number of tanks destroyed, but in the question of what courage is truly worth when it serves a lost cause.